Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. This is it. Don't get scared now. By the way, I do have a slightly stuffy nose. I do have a cold. So if I sound a little bit nasally and I use a little bit of toilet paper every once in a while to blow my nose, not wipe my ass, please forgive my sins against humanity. But nevertheless, thank you so much for joining me once again. I'm going to put my nighttime shades on because it makes the fluorescent lights look nice and warm and hurts my pupils even less. So how are you guys doing? What's going on with you guys tonight on a beautiful, sultry Friday night? I had nothing better to do, so I figured we could hang out for an hour or two, talk about some movies, talk about life, talk about whatever you guys want to do, and then you guys could watch me blow my nose occasionally. I thought it would be a really fun time together. So we got Max Nugenbauer in here. How's it going, Max? 800 comments already. Let's try not to do that. One or two will be enough, so less is more. But thanks for joining me, man. And the funny thing is, you had 87 comments on here, but you didn't technically ask. You didn't even make. There's not even a question. There's not even one question. Cheese pizza is the best food ever. You need a little substance on that cheese pizza, okay? Cheese pizza is fine for Kevin McAllister when he's home alone, but you need a little protein on that bad boy. We got Ashton here. How's it going, John? It's going pretty good. Other than the cold, I hate my immune system. It's so weak and pathetic. I just want to beat it and lock it in a basement until it gets stronger. But other than that, it's going all right. Thanks for the question. Pulp Fiction is going to 4K. Yes, indeed. I have heard that, and I can't wait. I still want Nightcrawler to hit 4K. And speaking of 4K movies, we're going to talk about a few of those in just 1 second. I have like 5 4K movies I want to talk about. Actually, you know what? We can do that now. You guys can get all your questions in for the next couple minutes, and then we'll dive into the super chats and all the questions and all the fun stuff. But first, I briefly want to talk about this. Now, they did send me yes. So they sent me the 4K copy of Jurassic World Dominion, and they sent me the Blu-ray copy of Jurassic World Dominion. And I would say quality-wise, not resolution-wise, but quality-wise, this is a bad movie no matter how you watch it. For me, this was one of the biggest disappointments of any big budget blockbuster film I've seen in probably the last decade. When you have the original nostalgic cast coming back, and then you just throw them into a subplot containing giant locusts, I think to myself, first of all, why was that written to a script? Why was that greenlit by a studio? Why did they give this movie a $300 million budget? And how did they actually film it, edit it, put it in front of test audiences, and say, you know what? That's a good idea. Let's continue with that. I have not met one person with functioning brain power or critical thinking skills who thought that subplot was a good idea. What a waste of money, cast, talent. And when it comes to the director and writer of this film, Colin Trevorrow, he was not the right choice for this franchise whatsoever. The other thing about Jurassic World Dominion is I really was looking forward to this. Like, the concept where humanity is living side by side with dinosaurs, or at least dinosaurs are inhabiting humanity. I was like, finally, we're getting it. This is going to be awesome. This is going to be the ultimate showdown. It's going to be like an apocalypse wasteland with dinosaurs running loose. You know, there's going to be like, you could have done anything you wanted to. The possibilities were endless. And that entire concept doesn't even really get touched on. Like, other than a couple guys at a construction site looking at a dinosaur as it walks by, it didn't matter that dinosaurs were now part of humanity. Like, it didn't even factor in whatsoever, which is baffling to me. So anyway, yeah, if you love it, I guess go buy it on 4K. I would not have gotten this, but it was sent to me to talk about and review, and so I'm talking about it and reviewing. Not a very good movie. Did not like it. I love me some Jurassic Park. I didn't like that. So it's also on Blu-ray. The next couple movies I want to talk about, and I have not seen two of these. Now, I thought Wrath of Khan was in here, but anyway, it's Star Trek, the original motion picture on 4K. Now, I've seen this once in my life. A lot of people would say the first one's kind of boring, and I would agree with them from everything I remember about the first Star Trek. It was kind of boring. Now, the sequel with Wrath of Khan is by far the best. But at one point, I will go back and revisit this, and the fact that it's on 4K, it does kind of it makes me want to go back and look at some of those original effects and practical effects. So that could be a good time. And then I have The Final Frontier, which I've never really sat down and watched. And then I have the Undiscovered Country, Star Trek. Never seen this either. I've never been the biggest Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek 2009, directed by J.J. Abrams. The sequels, but yeah, I do need to go back here and at least rewatch the first one at some point in life. So those are the new 4K movies I wanted to mention to you guys, and feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think about some of those, the Star Trek movies or Jurassic World Dominion, and let me know if you like Jurassic World Dominion. Let me know. But don't just say you liked it. Tell me specifically what you liked about it. That's what I want to know. All right, let's dive into some of your questions here. And guys, thank you so much for joining me and all the questions already. You guys are killing it. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Are you ready? I know I am. Michael Campbell says, I'll get in quick. What's up, Cyber Daddy? What's going on, buddy? What's going on, my boy? It's going well. How's it going with you? Thank you. Cyber Daddy, from now, I want to be referred to as Cyber Daddy. If I ever change my YouTube name, it's going to be Cyber Daddy. That is it. And I'll start talking about like politics and, more pulp culture things, not just movies. That'll be my new thing. When this whole fad of movies ends one day, I'll start talking about shit I don't really care about whatsoever. But the views will probably be better. So there's that. Carter Lovejoy says, what are some movies that look better on DVD than on Blu-ray and or 4K? Well, DVD, I don't know specifically off the top of my head. I will say this about lower resolution physical media and DVDs especially. Some DVDs that have a decent transfer with like the bit rate being as high as it possibly can. Now, some early DVDs look like blocky piles of shit, right? But some DVDs, in my opinion, almost look more filmic than the Blu-rays. They have this bit of softness to them. Like they look good, but they're soft. And sometimes when you watch a presentation of like a DVD and it has like that little bit of a soft glow where you don't see every little pixel and every little bit of resolution, it's almost easier on your eyeballs when you look at it. Every once in a while, it sort of has like this weird magical softness glow to it. And I don't mind it every once in a while. Sometimes when you watch a 4K and you can see every little pixel everywhere, every little like makeup prosthetic, it's almost like it sort of ruins the magic sometimes. One Blu-ray that looks better than the 4K, and I've said this once and I'll say it again 1,000 more times until I make sure everyone knows, is Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Don't buy the 4K. Don't you ever buy the 4K of that, okay? You've been warned. I've told you. The Blu-ray is far superior, looks better in every way. Go to the Blu-ray of T2 Judgment Day. There you go. All right, the next one comes from, oh gosh, where are we at here? Okay. Kevin Litchford. Sorry. All right. Thoughts/opinions on all the Warner Brothers, Discovery, DC BS. Yeah, I know they're merging, and it sounds like the merger isn't actually doing anyone any favors. It sounds like Discovery. What's happening is Discovery's coming in, and they're basically trying to cut costs everywhere they can. They're like, okay, let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. It's like buying a new car, but not actually. You want to save a few dollars, so you don't get the AC installed. You don't get the tinted windows. You don't get the premium audio quality speakers. You don't get the leather. You don't get the electric seats. So basically, you just have this box that goes from point A to point B. And it feels like that's what Discovery's doing with the acquisition of HBO. Like they want to get rid of so much shit just to cut cost. And sometimes that's a good idea. Sure, trim a little fat off the bone, but what they're doing, it almost seems like they're limiting the potential of what they could do. And eventually, if it keeps going this route, it almost feels like a shell of its former self. So I'm not quite sure. I don't think DC knows what they're doing. I don't think Warner Brothers knows what they're doing. I mean, they made a $90 million movie called Batgirl. They made the movie. They greenlit the movie. They watched it. They allowed it to be in production. And then once it was done, they said, nope. Like, that to me just tells me that they have no clue what the hell's going on. Like, how do you greenlit a $90 million movie, allow it to be made, and then just scrap it? What is going on there? That's just terrible decision making. I mean, at least release it on the streaming service. Break it up into 4 parts and make it a mini series. People will watch it. And the fact that there's so much controversy surrounding that movie, it's only gained more popularity. It might be the biggest piece of shit ever, but if you just make it a streaming service movie and don't release it in theaters, no one's going to mind. It's not going to actually, it's not going to taint what's the current status of the DC universe by any means, because that would almost be impossible to do. So I don't know what they're doing. I really don't. Joe Mama says, what movie made you super emotional / cry? I'll tell you one recently, and I felt so stupid for doing it. What was the newest Pixar movie? Why can I not remember the new Pixar movie? Hang on. New Pixar movies. It was the one with the purple elves. Of course, I'm not going to be able to find it off the top of my head. Let's see. New Pixar movies. What is it? 2019? Pixar movie. Onward. Yeah, Onward made me a little bit sad. Especially with the dad storyline and losing your dad and like moving on with your life. I was like, okay, I could feel a little tear trickling up, and I was like, no, John, you're tough. Eat some red meat and suck it up. So probably recently, maybe that. There's been a few others throughout my life that have made me a little sad inside, but recently I think that was the last one, maybe in the theater. The next one comes from A-Train98. Do you think Arnold should do another Predator movie? Yes and yes. There's so much potential. The fact is, he would come back if he had a good script. I don't know why they haven't somehow made a Predator movie, because think about it. He beat the Predator, right? Now, I know with the newest one, Prey, she beat the Predator too, but he actually beat the Predator, okay? He didn't get a whole bunch of people killed by running away as they fought the Predator. He actually beat the Predator. Now, I would love if they brought back old Arnie, but what I would do is I would have like a different subculture of the Predators. They know that Arnold is capable of beating them. They go to Earth, they get Arnold, they almost utilize him in a way to help them or train them to maybe beat another race of Predators. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, you could bring him back, that would be a positive. All right, the next one comes from Night King 01. Just realized the guy that played Buzz was in Better Call Saul. Oh, yes, he was. Who did he play? Oh, he played one of the victims at the bar that they con. Yeah, I do remember that. Yeah, what's his name? I forget his name. But the guy who played Buzz in Home Alone, he's been in a lot of stuff. He was in, what is it? The fucking shitty Ryan Reynolds movie, RPD or whatever it was. He was in that as well as a big bloated CGI alien monster. Michael Parton says, unfortunately, they are continuing that franchise. There's nothing wrong. Excuse me. I'm dying. I told you guys that. There's nothing wrong with continuing the Jurassic World franchise. There's nothing wrong with that. What you need is competent directors and writers to continue it. It's not hard to make an entertaining dinosaur movie. The dinosaurs make it entertaining, right? But for some odd reason, they just can't seem to do it. I don't know why. The next one comes from Claudia Rogajan. I hate the 4K of Casino Royale. They made everything darker, especially the parkour chase. It looks like the evening for some reason. I have noticed that with some of the color grading of new 4K movies. It's like they take the exposure and they dim it to a point where it does look too dark. I've noticed that happening more often than not, and I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. I have a feeling it was never originally supposed to look like that. John O'Connor. Do you stay in touch with Chris Stuckman? Not really, no. Occasionally, we might text every once in a while, but 99.9% of the time, no. Michael Leahy says, oh, day, John. Hope you are well. Are you anticipating anything in 23? Personally, I have 11 movies I am looking forward to. I'm just trying to make it through 2022 at this point. And the thing is, it's really hard to get hyped up for movies in 2023 when everything gets delayed, canceled, pushed back. Not only canceled for production issues, it gets canceled because of like personal reasons, like the Flash movie, right? we don't know if that's actually coming out when they say it is. With everything going on with Ezra Miller, who knows? Maybe they'll cancel that movie too. I don't know. But for the remainder of the year, 2022, I'm looking forward to Clerks 3, which comes out in a few weeks. I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to there's a couple horror films coming out September, October that look pretty cool. And then we get into December, which Aquaman was pushed back. So we have Avatar Part 2, which I am looking forward to. Say what you will, but I'm looking forward to it. There's a few other movies coming out that I can't recall off the top of my head, but there's a couple movies coming out in the next couple months I'm looking forward to, but mostly Clerks 3 as of right now. All right, the next one. Where am I? All right. Claudia, what is this? Okay. Sorry. Rob K says, how does 2022 compare to 2019 for the number of quality movies so far? Can we expect something good as Parasite to be released later this year? I was actually just talking about Parasite. We talked about that on my podcast, which, by the way, you can listen to it or watch it exclusively if you're a YouTube member or a Patreon supporter. So that's up now. We just put a brand new episode out. It's an hour and a half long. Check it out if you missed it. So, yes, I would love if they had another quality original film like Parasite come out. Now, as far as this year goes, I would say most of the movies are a continuation of franchises that already exist. Movies I liked, like Top Gun 2 or The Batman, but those aren't necessarily original ideas. So yeah, I would love if something like Parasite came out. Wasn't there something coming out later this year that could have the potential to be like a Parasite? I feel like there was one thing. Now I can't remember what it is. I feel like there was some kind of original movie coming out. Yeah, but 2019 for me probably had more quality movies than this year does. Because to keep it real with you, so far this year, there's a couple movies I like, but there's nothing I like I think's perfect. And I'm trying to dig really deep inside my brain tissue right now to find that. But yeah, there's nothing that struck a chord with me or like resonated with me like Parasite did in 2019. I would love another Parasite this year, but I have yet to see that movie. Do you like Repo Man with Jude Law? Saw it once. I thought it was okay. It sort of felt like that year there was a whole bunch of movies that felt like low-budget sci-fi films. I remember the movie with Justin Timberlake. What was that called? Time or something like that? Where it was like another sci-fi film that felt like it had a very limited budget and like a similar kind of concept. And then you had that Ethan Hawke movie about like vampires and shit. Daybreakers. So for some reason, all three of those movies feel like sci-fi movies that just did not have enough money. Am I the only one? I don't know. And they all came out like around the same time. All right. We'll talk about House of Dragon probably in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. I have plenty to say about it. All right, we got one here from Jalen Martin. You ever seen The Wire? I get this question every time we do a live show. I have. I actually started to rewatch it just recently, but I don't remember a lot about it. But I love that urban culture type like movie or series. I love things that are grounded in reality. So yeah, I'm going back to rewatch The Wire now. But I did like it the first time I watched it, but that was in the mid-2000s. Matthew Castellanos says, did you hear that the Flash movie test screenings received positive reception? Apparently best since the Dark Knight trilogy. Don't they say that every time there's a test screening for a movie? I feel like it's always, this is the best one since the best one. And 90% of the time, it never is. Now, it's directed and written by the same lady behind Birds of Prey, if I don't remember correctly, or if I do remember correctly. And if that's any indication of quality, well, I don't have high hopes, but I am looking forward to it. If anything, if for nothing else, I'm just hoping the Michael Keaton Batman cameo scenes give me what I want. If the rest of the movie sucks, I will at least walk away with a smile on my face if you give me some good Michael Keaton as Batman once again. That's all I want from that movie. I don't give a shit about the Flash in the Flash movie. I really don't. I care more about Michael Keaton's Batman. But that's good to hear. I haven't heard that anywhere. That sounds. Who said that? Where and who said that? Give me one source besides a Reddit post by an anonymous person. Michael Parton says, I'm happy that Evil Dead I'm sorry, my brain hurts. Okay. I'm happy that Evil Dead Rise, a release date, but it delayed Salem's Lot indefinitely. I hope it doesn't get the stake in the heart meaning canceled. Oh, yeah. I didn't hear anything about that. I haven't really been keeping up with either of those movies. Is that actually a theatrical release, the Evil Dead movie? I know nothing about it. Have not heard anything. Jack Lame says, you're working hard, John. Why don't you pop that shirt off? I'll do it for $500 super chat. I'll take the shirt off and I'll flex my pecs. Don't do that. But actually I would. And I drip a little baby oil on it like this. All right. Thank you for the comment though. Pierce Production says, can you take a moment to talk about the awesome openings from Tropic Thunder? Jeff Portnoy in the Fatties Part 2. Oh yes, the parody trailers in Tropic Thunder. Oh yes, I forgot about that. Some good stuff. There's a lot of things that they did in Tropic Thunder and a lot of things they did in every comedy movie pre-2015 that you just could never ever do again. And I have actually heard, and I don't know if this has been verified, but there's actually a Jamie Foxx comedy film that was shot in 2018 where they just cannot release the movie. It would offend way too many people, but I've heard rumors swirling around about that movie. But yeah, you could never have Tropic Thunder made today. Could you imagine the outrage? It's a good movie. I enjoy it. I've never loved Tropic Thunder, but I still do enjoy the performances by Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Cruise. Jesus, or Salcido, says, what is the better show you think, Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? It really depends. I think from start to finish, Breaking Bad is more of a thrill ride. It was the starting point. It was definitely one of those shows that come once a lifetime. For me, though, Better Call Saul, though there are some seasons better than others, for me, it's sort of more of the show I enjoy to watch. I enjoy the con man aspect of Better Call Saul. I enjoyed more of the levity. I enjoyed that it wasn't always about making meth and selling it and Walter White's annoying wife. You know, I enjoyed those aspects of Better Call Saul. And the fact you sort of know how most of it's going to end, it takes less out of you to watch an episode. Like watching an episode of Breaking Bad was almost exhausting at times. You're like, holy shit, I'm tired now. But Better Call Saul for me, it was just always entertaining. So I think Breaking Bad's the better series, but Better Call Saul is probably the best spinoff series ever made thus far. But then again, House of Dragon, yet to be determined. And I loved me some House of Dragon. I will just say that. The first 15 minutes, I was like, okay, please don't make everyone so cliche and stereotyped. But then as soon as some of the characters developed in House of Dragon, like Matt Smith's character, I liked that he wasn't just pure evil. He wasn't just a bad guy to be a bad guy. Like, there was like some good in him. I liked that. So I hope I answered your question there. The next one comes from Ant. Have you seen Hit Top Films' Jason teaser trailer? I have not. I have not seen that. Are you talking about like a Jason teaser? Are you talking about Jason Voorhees, or is there like some fan made teaser trailer? I did not know anything about it. Faisal H says, you like Sour Patch Kids, best quote of the year from Nope. I do remember that. Yeah, the line from Nope, Sour Patch Kids. Yes, I related to it. I liked it. Clearly, I like Sour Patch Kids. Double Chief says, why so early? I need my 1 a.m. streams. I'll keep it real with you, dude. I do not feel good today. I almost didn't do this, but I feel like I was neglecting you guys, and I don't want to neglect you guys. But by 1 a.m., I'm going to be sleeping. I will not be conscious. I will be dead. And this probably won't be a 2-hour live stream. I just physically don't have it in me to do it. But yeah, I'll give you a solid hour of mediocre entertainment. That's the least I could do. Matthew Castellonis says, another question I wanted to ask. I'm doing a Predator marathon. Should I skip the 2018 one and just watch Prey? I only saw the first 3. Yes, the best word of advice I could ever give you is don't watch the 2018 The Predator movie. It's really terrible. And it's not even like, from my standpoint of maybe being picky about movies, no, it's just an atrocious movie. Like, anyone who says they like that movie, you can't trust them. You can never trust anything else they say in their life. It's almost like they went out of their way to make the worst Predator film they ever could. Just some of the subplots and the ideas in that film, I don't know what was happening and what they were thinking. It goes beyond comprehension. Don't watch it. Just don't ever watch it. Don't ever fucking watch it. So no, don't. You should go out, but what you should watch is my review for the movie. Michael Campbell says, looking at becoming a member, how do the members live stream work? Do you get to see our faces? Do we interact? Can I get a virtual snuggle? You can get a virtual snuggle and much more virtually. Really, the member thing is what you do is you sign up and I'll see a little thing beside your name. Occasionally, well, and then what I do at the end of each live stream is I take member-only questions, or I try to hit member-only questions as much as I can. Also, if you join, like, if you're a member, you join, like, the podcast perk, you can ask anything you want during the podcast, and then we do a deep dive discussion about your topic, and then you get to see a video of that and an audio version of that exclusively for you. So that's how it works. And no, I can't see your face. But what I want to do is a live hangout. I've only done one, but I want to do another one for members only, where we do a live hangout. And in that one, you can join and I can see your face. But not right now, I can't. But I would like to see your face. William Fontaine says, hey, John, I know people have told you this 100 times, but I've been binging your vids and they really helped me through some rough times. Thanks for everything, man. It's helped a lot. Well, thanks, William. Thank you so much for that. And if I hear that 1,000,001 times, it never gets old. Thank you for that. It does help. It does mean a lot. And sometimes it's weird. I always think to myself, sometimes I go back and watch like an older video I've made. And I think, like, if I didn't know me and I wasn't me and I watched this, what would I think of myself? And I'm like, that guy's fucking weird. But thank you for watching them. It does mean a lot, man. Magic Vinny says, what's worse, Jurassic World Dominion or Rise of Skywalker? Oh, shit. I mean, both of them sort of duplicate the failures of each other. They both make the exact same mistakes. They waste nostalgic characters. They don't know what to do with them. They have a substandard storyline that just feels incomprehensibly bad. The journey that they go on just does not feel fulfilling whatsoever. I would say they're almost on the same exact platform. I would say they're almost identical to each other in failure. I really would. They're both the biggest letdowns. I think some people would hold Star Wars to a higher standard than Jurassic Park, but yeah, I hated them both. That's how I feel. I felt cheated. I felt betrayed. I felt abused. And most importantly, I lost faith in Hollywood each time I watched both of those films. And that's what I'm saying, guys. Every time I make a tweet about something and everyone's like, John, you don't like anything. Ah! No. When something's good, I'll praise it. I'll praise it to the high heavens. You'll never hear me stop talking about it. But when something's bad, I will shit on it and until it's in the toilet and we flush it. Because I'll tell you what, when you start giving any praise to mediocre movies, guess what Hollywood does? They say, oh, we can get away with making mediocre shit and we'll still get your money. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to just keep making mediocre shit. Don't allow it. Don't accept it because that will become the norm. You don't want mediocrity to become the norm. But some people love it. For some odd reason, some people's favorite flavor is vanilla. You know, it's... All right, you're getting me in a tangent. I'm already sweating. Maybe I have a fever. I'm not quite sure. All right, the next one comes from Night King 01. I heard Samaritan was awful. I suspected this. It's not very good. I wanted it to be good. And I like halfway through the movie, I was like, okay, hey, maybe there's still hope. Maybe there's still hope. But it's the most cliche thing I've ever seen. Now, and at times it does feel like a 1990s throwback comic book movie. But even those have like more character and more of like a stylish approach with like quotable one-liners. Like the villain in this film is played by the guy who played Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones. He was a terrible, unlikable villain in that. And I don't mean his character was like he portrayed such a evil, sadistic villain that you love to hate. No, I just thought he was like bland, terrible soap opera actor brought in to play a villain that he didn't fit the role. So what he does is a copy and paste of his role as Euron Greyjoy in Game of Thrones in this movie, where he plays like a generic white trash urban street gang leader, like ordering like 12-year-olds around. It's just bizarre. Stallone was the best part of the movie. I had no complaints with Stallone, but it just felt like he was sort of shoehorning a performance in, but it was fine. But just the overall concept of it sounded cool, and then you see it brought to fruition, and it just feels like really corny and hokey, but really underwhelming. The best way to sum it up is it just feels like that substandard streaming service movie that you're going to watch once and never watch it again, and no one's ever going to talk about it again. And I don't know why that was. What they should have done was just really went for it, hammed it up, had crazy outlandish characters who had like great quotable one-liners like you would from a 1990s action movie. Some of the casting was wrong. There was a twist I did see coming. There's a twist at the end of the movie, but I knew it was coming from the opening of the movie. I was like, okay, I have a feeling where this is going to go. The little kid in the movie at times I didn't hate, but other times I'm like, he's like the worst kid that's ever existed. It sort of reminded me of, and I put a tweet out about this, it reminded me of Unbreakable meets the movie Steel starring Shaq, with little tidbits of Last Action Hero. That's the best way I could summarize that movie. But it's not as good as any of those movies. Like, Steel was terrible with Shaq, but at least it felt like a product of its time. This movie just feels like a product of I don't know where it belongs. So anyway, all right. Yay, spam bots. All right. Yeah, if you see a spam bot, just pretend it doesn't exist. All right, the next one comes from Charismatic Character says, what do you think about Arnold and DiCaprio in a film? Arnold and DiCaprio in a film. I wouldn't hate it. What movie would that be is my question. I would love to see it. MKF30 says, heard about a new Jason movie coming next year. I've heard that there's a possibility of a new Jason movie coming. Didn't someone obtain the rights, or they worked out some of the rights? I've said this once, and I'll say it again. The fact that we don't have a quality Friday, if we are talking about a Friday, you mean Friday the 13th, not Jason, right? I've said this many times. Friday the 13th, you could make a really good horror film of Friday the 13th. It's an iconic character. You could make a great movie for $20 million or less. I don't understand why studios, or at least the studio who owns the rights, is not doing that. It's like you have easy money ready to go. Just make a good horror film and people will go to see it. It baffles my brain. Carter Lovejoy says, have you seen the trailer for The Last of Us HBO show? I have not seen the trailer. I didn't know the trailer was out yet, but I was sort of looking forward to anything post-apocalyptic. I'm a big fan of. I have some faith in it. Did the trailer look good? I haven't seen it, but I like Carl Urban. I never really played the game, though I do know the storyline. Did it look good? Let me know. I want to check it out. Claudia Rogajon says, did you see the set photos of the Predator 2018 where the humans team up with a group of predators, but they reshot the whole third act? Why? Excuse me. Well, they reshot the third act to introduce a special needs kid to say he's powerful, more powerful than everyone. That way that could be a terrible subplot that you interjected into a movie that didn't have any place in it. That's probably what they decided to do for some kind of weird agenda in Hollywood. I don't comprehend why they did it, but that team-up concept sounds like it would have been really fucking cool. The next one comes from Crunch Butt Steak. Great name. How much would it cost for you to call Crazy Jason? I could call him like I have for the last 2 years, but he probably wouldn't pick up like he has for the last 2 years. They don't call him Crazy Jason for nothing. I'll just put it there. Ryman6000 says, please tell me why my girlfriend and I should watch Bad Lieutenant with Nicolas Cage and would edibles increase the experience? Thanks, John. Netflix is slowly dying. Kind of, sort of. So yes, Bad Lieutenant, if you understand Nicolas Cage humor, if you think Nicolas Cage is funny, okay, yes. That's where we're going to start with this. Will edibles help? Abso-fucking-lutely. So you need to watch Bad Lieutenant. Give it 25 minutes. If you're not into it within those 25 minutes and you're not laughing, stop. Just stop. But at the point he gets a blowjob in a parking lot and he gives this line, what's the matter? Your father not go to enough school plays or something? If you don't laugh at that, then stop. Push stop, get up and leave. But if you do laugh at that, you're weird, you're sick, and you're sadistic, and I like you. And you'll continue watching the movie, and you'll have a good time. So, yes, continue. So, yeah, go watch it, man. I think you'll enjoy it. All right. Sorry for the annoying cough. I'm dying right now. All right, Faisal H says, did you see the House of Dragon pilot? Thoughts? Okay, great. Now we can dive deeper into it. So the House of Dragon pilot episode, I was very pleased by. I'm looking forward to where it's going. I think the production value looks great. Matt Smith, I liked him for the first time as a villain. Because let's be honest, the last few times that dude played a villain was in Terminator Genesis, where it sucked, and he sucked in the movie. It was in Morbius, where it sucked and his character sucked. Also, literally sucked because he was a vampire. But in this role, I enjoyed him. I liked his character. You can tell it's almost like Scar from Lion King. That's what it reminded me most of. Like, he's a functioning guy, and he's one of those characters where the ends will justify the means. And I like characters like that. I'm looking forward to where it's going. I like some of the nuances. I like the character development. And as far as brutality goes and not holding back, thank you, House of Dragon, for not just wussing out and giving it to us. You're not holding back. It was grotesque, it was violent, it was brutal, and it's everything I wanted, and that's everything Game of Thrones or a Game of Thrones prequel should be. And you don't get that very often nowadays from Hollywood, but they gave it to us. So I'm really looking forward to it. I don't really have any major complaints. Give it a few more episodes. Let's see like the overall tone of it and how they're going to continue. But as far as the scope goes, I like it. And you can tell it has way more money than that first season of Game of Thrones ever did. Just the jousting pit where they're in the arena, it looks like a gladiator Roman arena. Compare that to the first jousting arena that they had in the first season of Game of Thrones, which was like just a dirt field with some bleachers. So I'm a fan of it so far. I don't really have many complaints. That's crazy for me to say, isn't it? But it's what I wanted. I mean, yeah, sure, some of the CG dragons looked a little but I can overlook certain things like that. Claudia Rogajon says, Arnold's character in the Predator comics, I believe, is known as the Predator Killer, and he is feared by them. Yes, and like I said originally, if you're going to make a new Predator film to bring back old Arnie, the Predators would almost come to him to have train like a new batch of Predators to take on a bigger threat. So in a way, he would begrudgingly work beside them, but maybe it's for the cause of something bigger and better. That could be kind of a cool concept. I'm just saying, Hollywood, why isn't that being made? TT says, what's the biggest 180 you've made on a film opinion after a rewatch? Either going from hating to loving or loving to hating. Ooh, I know there's probably some, and off the top of my head, I know for a fact I've done this. Maybe not hating, but liking. Um, I'll give you a couple. I'll give you not, and I don't hate these. I just don't like them anywhere as much as I did on the first watch. Right, Dunkirk. I really enjoyed watching Dunkirk. As far as going back and rewatching it, I don't really like it that much. Like, I think it's okay. I think it's good. I think as far as like quality cinema and craftsmanship go, it's a very well made movie. It's just not like a very good movie to rewatch over and over again. So Dunkirk is one of them. Uh, Force Awakens. I really liked that when it first came out, and I liked it even a year or two afterwards. But upon rewatch over and over, I'm really not that big of a fan. It feels like substandard Hollywood writing at times. Let's see. I know there's plenty of other movies, and I'm trying to think of a movie I watched for the first time and didn't like, and then went back and liked it more. I know there's something here. Okay, I got one for you. The first time I saw Drive, I knew there was things I liked about it, but it just threw me off the first time I saw it. I didn't know what to expect. So then when I bought it on Blu-ray and watched it again, I actually fell in love with it. Like, I liked it so much more than the first time. So those are a few examples, but I know there's plenty of more I just can't come up with on the spot. But that's a great question for all of you right now over in the chat. Tell me a movie that you grew to love but originally didn't like, and tell me a movie that, well, you liked and then after rewatch sort of didn't like it as much. Let me know those in the chat, and I'll read a few of them off. So do it now. Tell me. All right, do it now. The next one comes from Max Nugenbauer. Thoughts on Lightyear? I thought it was decent, but should have been better. I have a first reaction to Lightyear over on the Flickpick channel. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't think it was bad. It was just sort of like this movie that didn't feel like it needed to be made. You know, I like that it was sort of small scale and sort of a subdued, simple story. I did like those things. But really, in the grand scheme of it, like, it just didn't need to be made. You know, did it have a purpose? And I would say not really. I didn't hate watching it. I just don't think I'd ever go back and revisit it. We got one here. First liked. Oh, you liked the Batman. Now you don't like it as much. Interesting. No Way Home. So did you like No Way Home or dislike No Way Home afterwards? Didn't like Baby Driver at first. Fair enough. Baby Driver. I liked it more the first time I watched it than the second time. Wreck-It Ralph 2. Oh my, I hated Wreck-It Ralph 2. I used to love Inception, but now the ending ruins it for me. So I wanted to talk about Inception first. That was another movie I was going to mention with that question. And when it comes to Inception, I still like it. Now, the movie did come out 12 years ago, and I've seen it probably 20 times. So it's sort of unfair in some ways to say you don't like it as much when you first did. That's only fair, but there are things I've blatantly noticed as far as like the screenplay go and the logic of the screenplay that stand out to me as like sort of off-putting that don't really add up. It's like they wrote it in there for the sake of showing a really cool sequence, but when you just think about it for 3 minutes, you're like, well, that's kind of stupid. It seems like the logic of a 13-year-old boy. Like, for example, when in the story, his crazy wife is like, yeah, she went to 7 psychiatrists to prove that she wasn't insane. That way, when she committed suicide, she could blame it on her husband. Isn't the fact that she went to 7 psychiatrists to prove that she wasn't insane, doesn't that maybe indicate she had bad intentions? Wouldn't that in itself say maybe she was insane? Just putting it out there. I'm just saying. There's some like flawed logic in that screenplay. Just little things like that I start to nitpick the more I see it. No Country for Old Men. Yeah, I got one for you. Here's one. There Will Be Blood. First time I saw There Will Be Blood, I was like, oh, that's kind of boring. And then I watched it again, maybe a year later when my brain developed to realize what quality cinema is. And I was like, this is phenomenal. How did I not see this the first time? So that's another one I would say I enjoyed much more the second time. Yeah, Justice League. Yeah, the first time I saw it, I was like, okay, it wasn't what I wanted it to be, but it wasn't terrible. And then, like 2 months later, I watched it again. I was like, oh, that's a piece of shit. So, fair enough. MVS says, and by the way, guys, I'm about 21 minutes behind on the super chat questions, so I'm going to do my best to catch up, but I will answer every single one that you guys post. What do you think about Jared Leto? Wait, who do you think Jared Leto was worse as, Joker or Morbius? That's a tough one. I will just say, can I just say both? I think both is the answer there. I've never seen an Oscar winner tank his own career so badly since Cuba Gooding Jr. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking. Like, first of all, like, I get why he maybe wanted to be the Joker. Okay. But did he learn nothing from that mistake to be Morbius? Like, you could just read the script for Morbius and go, oh, that's a piece of shit. Why would you be in that? Maybe for a paycheck. And if he did it for a paycheck, okay, I get it, man. But I doubt he was hurting for money. So I don't know. Maybe he was just desperate to be a good comic book character and it failed miserably. Cauley Wally says, odd question, can Disney Plus and others stream in 4K? Yes, Disney Plus can stream in 4K. And one of the things I will praise Disney Plus for doing is if you watch some of the newer or older MCU movies on Disney Plus, they have a feature where they will give you the original IMAX aspect ratio of that film in 4K. So if you watch something like Avengers Endgame on Disney Plus and you watch it with that setting on, every time an IMAX sequence comes on, it fills up your entire screen. The picture quality looks phenomenal, and it's some of the best streaming service resolution or quality I've ever seen. So I salute Disney Plus for such things. I wish more streaming services would do the same. So yeah, they can. The next one comes from Michael Parton. Okay, let me try to. It's atrocious that Warner Brothers set a release date for The Nun 2 over Salem's Lot. I love the Conjuring universe, but I'm hoping it's better than the first. Yeah, I was not a fan of The Nun. Hated it. Thought it was really bad. Maybe the new one will be better. I love me a good horror film. I like The Conjuring. I like The Conjuring 2, but everything afterwards and all the spinoffs have not been a big fan of. Elliot Cecil says, thoughts on House of the Dragon? We just talked about that quite a bit, but yeah, man, really enjoyed it. Looking forward to it. Really don't have any complaints. I think it's a good starting point. And you know, we were due for another quality series. And I know She-Hulk just came out and some people love it, but House of Dragon is more what I enjoy. Jake 8 says, imagine Quentin Tarantino did a Hills Have Eyes or Saul movie. Also, what do you think is better, 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre or The Hills Have Eyes 2006? Now, I think we're on the same page here because I feel like both those films you just mentioned are two of the best horror remakes ever made. I would actually say the 2006 Hills Have Eyes is an improvement over the original. It's a phenomenal movie that holds nothing back. And I would say the same thing about 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I know people love the original. I like it too. I like that it was shot on old grainy film reels, 16 millimeter. But that 2003 remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre was better than it had to be. And it's still better than most of the horror films we get nowadays. I loved that. I actually love both those films. I would say both those are in my top 25 slasher films of all time. Which one is better? I think that's very subjective. It really depends. I think immersiveness-wise, I really enjoyed the 2003 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I love the character Leatherface. I think he's a great villain. I think he's a better villain than the villains in Hills Have Eyes. Though I did enjoy the dude who's in the wheelchair who has a brain the size of like a beanbag. And he's like, I never leave here. I like that guy quite a bit. But yeah, I think I prefer the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, just ever so slightly. All right, the next one comes from Elliot Cecil. And have you seen She-Hulk? I haven't yet. Yeah, I have seen She-Hulk. I will just say, going into it, I knew what it was going to be. I knew it was going to be this fluffy ABC Saturday morning CW-esque sitcom superhero show. I was prepared for all of those things. And is that what it is? Yeah, more or less. But I will just say, I'm not going to talk about the second episode just yet, but as far as the first episode goes, I was like, okay, whatever. And then the last 5 minutes of it, I felt like they ran out of money and just shot it in someone's garage. So am I going to continue watching it? Probably not. I just don't feel the need to watch it. I don't feel like I'm going to get much out of it. And I don't really care, to be honest with you. I don't want to see a character I'm not really that interested in doing things I don't care about. So I just feel like this show could be summed up in a 5-minute montage sequence when it's all said and done. I don't really feel like it's a binge-worthy show, and yeah, I just don't have the urge to like click it on and watch it. I don't know. Maybe I will occasionally. I don't know, because sometimes when I'm eating food, I need something mindless to watch. So if I run out of mindless content to watch, maybe I'll watch another episode of She-Hulk. I think you either like it or you hate it. You know. Stephen Masser says, "Hey John, I can tell by your tie it's Friday. I haven't worn a tie since 2003, man. But thank you for that. Your compliment was sufficient, Lewis." But that's a quote from Fight Club. He's wearing his corn blue tie. It must be Friday. Matthew Castellona says, worst movie 2016 or 2021, Suicide Squad. Yeah, that's fair. I think you could say that, sure. Though I think in 2021, there's probably worse movies that came out. Like Matrix Resurrections. There you go. That's a worse movie than Suicide Squad. Samuel Thomas says, hey, John, I love you, man. What's something good you've seen recently? Something good I've seen recently is House of Dragon. Another movie I saw that I had no hope for was the movie Fall. I enjoyed that. I don't think it was great, but I think if you went into the movie based on the trailer, it delivered on what you expected it to deliver on. Also, I enjoyed the movie Nope. Not perfect, but I enjoyed it. So those are a few movies I enjoyed. Also, I rewatched Silence of the Lambs for the 90th time the other day, and that is a movie that just never gets old to me. I don't know what that says about me as a person psychologically, but for some odd reason, when I watch Silence of the Lambs, I am relaxed. That movie relaxes me. I need to see a psychiatrist. I need to know why that is. Night of the Creeps says, hey, John. I just watched Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead for a second time and enjoyed it way more with a rewatch. Did you like it? I'm glad you liked it. I hated that movie. I hated that. I think that was the biggest mess of a movie that I've seen in a very long time. It truly felt like their intention with that was, with Army of the Dead, was to make it a series, and then they didn't quite somehow formulate it well enough to be a series, so they just stuck it all together as a movie. It felt like a series to me that was churned into a movie. That's what it felt like to me. The way the pacing was going throughout the film. Yeah, once again, I like zombie movies. I like post-apocalyptic movies, but that movie just bored me. Night King 01 says, how was House of the Dragon? I found it funny that one knight got so mad he initiated a slaughter and no one cared that all these lords were dying. Well, I don't think a lot of lords were dying. It was just the people in the streets of Westeros were dying. I don't remember them slaughtering lords. They were slaughtering just people to send a message. They're like, don't do crime, but they slaughtered lots of innocent people to scare off the rest of society from committing any crime. That's the way I saw it. Maybe they did kill some lords. I don't know. I need to go back and revisit it. I don't remember a lot of lords dying. Dustin Rich says, when are we going to watch Apocalypto together, John? Did I say we were? It's an epic masterpiece that everyone should love, and it excites me in my bathing suit area. It excites me deep down in my bowels as well. I like me some Apocalypto, one of the most underrated movies ever made. If you've never seen it, please go watch Apocalypto right now. I still need to get the Blu-ray of that. Claudio Rogojan says, I love how your Predator idea literally describes the original third act of The Predator, where the humans team up with the Predators. They shot this. Yep, well, they should have kept it in the movie, and they should have brought back Arnold to be in part of that. Annie Sanchez says, hey, John, you should do a Predator 2 movie review. I have a Predator 2 movie review. Go to the Flickpick channel. Type in Predator 2 movie night. There you go. Enjoy. Carlos C. says, hey, John, thanks again for all the content and live streams. We really do appreciate it. Have you seen the film Eraserhead? If so, thoughts? I don't think I've seen Eraserhead. I can remember the poster, though. Yeah, I always remember the poster of Eraserhead. I've never sat down and watched it. David Lynch from 1977. Oh, and by the way, Night King 01, I think it was you who always told me to watch this. Blowout, starring John Travolta from 1981, 82, or 83, somewhere in there. I did finally watch the movie Blowout. It's on HBO Max. I did enjoy it. It does have like Nightcrawler-esque vibes. I did enjoy the mystery. I enjoyed that his occupation was like a sound mixer, sound effects guy for Hollywood movies. I thought it was a really cool movie. The only thing is, like, some of it, since it came out almost 40 years ago, a lot of the things that happened in the movie have been replicated in other movies, so it doesn't feel like fresh and new. But as far as the look of the movie goes, I think it was ahead of its time and still holds up cinematically. But yeah, Blowout. Good early 80s movie. Check it out. And thanks for the question, Carlos. And no, I have not seen Eraserhead. I have not seen it. Faisal H says, how do you deal with Hollywood wokeness agenda in movies nowadays? Do you ignore it, or does it take you out of the experience like me? Oh yeah, I notice it, and it does take me out of the experience. And sometimes I do my best when I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, I see what they're doing, but maybe they'll make it up. See, someday, here's how Hollywood works. Let me tell you guys something. All the wokeness you see in Hollywood, it's to appease certain people who greenlight certain things. So when you write a script in Hollywood, you know you have to include this, and this to appease the studio execs who are going to greenlight the movie. They have like a certain thing, a certain to-do list. No matter what, you have to work this shit into your story, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it feels like you're tacking it in. We need this shit in our story to appease a very small demographic of people who will complain about it on Twitter, but these same people actually won't go to pay to see the movie. But for some odd reason, we had to appease this small demographic of people. Now, you can make that whatever you want to make it, whatever topic it is. But sometimes it just doesn't fit into the story it is, right? There's certain things you can say in a certain movie. There's certain things that don't have a place in certain movies. But whenever it just feels so out of place, where they talk about it, reference it, and there's no mention of it later on in the film, that to me felt like tacked in appeasement for someone else. And whenever I notice things like that, yes, it does take me out of it, and I'm not a big fan of it. But sometimes I understand why they had to do it, but at the same time, it's like everything wrong with Hollywood. It's like, it's no longer just about making the best story and the best movie. It's about all these other hurdles you have to jump over. That's what I don't like. Whenever you start stifling art, it's no longer art. Now it's a corporate product. And ugh. You know the way I would describe it? It's like if someone painted the Mona Lisa now, and 1% of Twitter complained that, oh, she's not smiling enough. What's wrong? Does she get beat by her husband? And then the artist goes, okay, I'll make the Mona Lisa smile. There, she's smiling now. Are you happy? Well, it's no longer his original artwork. It's no longer what it should have been. Now it's been tweaked and changed to appease someone. That's the best way I can describe movies today. Let's keep going. You get me worked up now. All right. Michael Barton says, I think Craven and Madame Web will be dumpster fires. Madame Web, I have no hope for. Craven could be cool. You know what? Either movie could be good. They truly could be good if you hire like a good screenwriter and a competent director, and the studio says, you know what? You guys are talented. We'll allow you guys to make the decisions. But it's from Sony, okay? Now, keep in mind, these are the same people that just gave us Morbius. So, yeah, I have no hope for either. All right, let's talk about iced coffee, John. Oh, I love me some iced coffee. Just had some today. Andy Sanchez, who has been a member for 2 months. Yay! I wish Arnold would do another Predator movie. I have been rewatching your old videos from 2011, Laugh Out Loud. I wish I would have discovered your channel sooner. Well, you know the great thing, man. Thank you so much for joining and being a part of my channel and watching my videos now. Thank you so much. But the great thing is, all those old videos still exist. So no worries, man. Go back and enjoy them and come back for the new ones. But thanks, Andy. Elliot Cecil says, I'm a little nervous about the Lord of the Rings series will be ruined. Yeah, I'm a little afraid of the Lord of the Rings series that it's going to be I feel like it's going to tiptoe a little bit too much. And just based on the trailer for it, it looks so glossy. Like, it just looks so glossy. It just looks like people are standing in front of a green screen. But I'll watch it. I'll check it out, and hopefully it's good. Jake 8 says, Hills Have Eyes 2, 2007, American Psycho 2, or Roadhouse 2. Pick your poison. Sorry, John. Oh, shit. I'd probably go with Hills Have Eyes 2. It was bad, but a bad horror film to me is easier to watch than something else. So I'd probably go with that. But speaking of Roadhouse, I'm really looking forward to the Jake Gyllenhaal remake. Give me that shit now, baby. Night King 01 says, I was talking about the knights at the tournament. They're all lords of noble houses. They just started massacring each other at a joust. I mean, but if you're in a tournament jousting, you're allowed to kill someone. So anything can happen, right? If you sign up for it, that's the risk you take. Matthew Castellonis says, no, I meant to ask, what was more disappointing for you than the 2016 Suicide Squad or 2021 Suicide? Oh, which one was more disappointing? Probably, you know what it was? The 2021 was more disappointing because when it came to that film, I was hoping they would learn from their mistakes. And the fact that they got James Gunn to come in and do this, I thought it was going to be like a really good movie. And it just felt like this disjointed mess. So, yeah, I would say the 2021 one was a little bit more disappointing. Both had so much potential, but neither really did what they should have. Dustin Rich says, Michael Keaton or Jeff Goldblum, who dies? Oh, don't you ever do that to me, man. Jeff Goldblum is a national treasure, but Michael Keaton is my childhood hero. You want to get us? Let's get nuts. I refuse to answer that question. Claudia Rogajon says, there goes any chance of Craven's Last Hunt, like Disney would ever do that again with Craven kills himself. You think they would allow that? Probably not, but hey, that would be a cool ending though, wouldn't it? We need more dark endings in Hollywood. Everyone's so afraid to do it. And by the way, if you guys are members, chime in right now. I'm trying to read all your chats. We got a Kai in here. What's up, John? It's the weekend. Any movie plans? Well, excuse me. I sound like Nick Nolte. And for our next main topic. So by the way, Akai, we did answer your question in the new podcast episode. So did you listen to it yet? Because we talked about your question. I specifically remember it. This weekend, I do want to see Bullet Train. I have not got around to seeing it yet. The cool thing is there's a drive-in theater that I have not been to in probably 30 years, like 30 minutes away, that I want to go see Bullet Train at. Maybe I'll go watch the movie Beast, though I don't think it's going to be all that great. So those might be the plans this weekend. There's a lot of things going on. I'm actually moving again in a couple of weeks. I know I say that every 3 days. But yeah, a lot of things to take care of before I do that, and a lot of packing to do. I got some videos to make. It's just going to be a big transitional couple of weeks for me. And plus I have a cold right now, which is never good. But yeah, those are the plans this weekend, man. MK30 says, I don't think Snyder is bad, but implies all his movies would suck. That's not the case. Okay, I don't know what that's in reference to. I don't think Zack Snyder's bad. I think Zack Snyder just needs direction and to be tamed. I think Zack Snyder has some good ideas. I think he has some good visuals, but I don't know if... I think if Zack Snyder was like a producer or maybe like a second unit director, or maybe he just handled some of the cinematography in movies, it would be good. But as far as like directing a movie, it's hit or miss at best. You did listen to it, and thank you. Well, no, thank you, Akai. MKF30 says, Shazam movie... Okay, what? Shazam mover Captain Marvel, tell you what much... I don't know what that means. I'm sorry. Ask the question again. I can't comprehend it right now. I love... You know the thing about 300 is it has not aged that well. Like, it's still cool to occasionally watch, but it just, like, something about it did not age well. The Eisenator says, a real lawyer analyzed Top Gun and concluded that if it were reality, Maverick would possibly face the death penalty for every rule he breaks. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he committed treason like 18 times. Like, I know for a fact he committed treason. In the beginning of the movie, he recklessly has a test plane that he crashes that easily could have killed people, not to mention... what is the FAA or whatever, who controls pilot license, would have immediately canceled his pilot license and he would have been grounded for the rest of his life. So yeah, there's a few things that don't make any logical sense, but then again, it's a Top Gun movie. Who gives a fuck? All right, the next one comes from Night King 01. Is it me or does James Gunn get a lot of praise for doing almost nothing? He directed Guardians great, but where's all the praise coming from? The thing about James Gunn is his sense of humor, it needs to be funneled to be funny sometimes. Like the first Guardians, great. But I'll give, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give some credit to Disney. I think Disney helped tame his ideas and focus them. And when he doesn't have any focus, or he doesn't have a studio helping to sort of pick apart what he's doing, you get things like the Suicide Squad that he directed. It's just like this crazy mashup of all these random ideas, and some of them are okay, some of them are just bad, but you get all of them without someone saying, you know what, maybe you shouldn't do this. So sometimes a little bit of studio, I don't want to say interference, but feedback is not a bad thing. Joe Mama says, thoughts on Black Adam? Well, I like me The Rock. I'm going to check it out, but it does look like a very generic superhero movie, doesn't it? Like the trailer for Black Adam looks like a movie trailer for some other superhero movie that would have come out in 2007. Like it just looks that way to me. Jesus says, why are you not becoming Mr. Olympia anymore? Dude, I have not been to the gym probably 2 weeks. And then I went, and I didn't go 3 weeks before that. Life got in the way. I still occasionally go. I just want to maintain, man. I occasionally just want to go and maintain. It's a thing. It's like when you have this urge to climb to the mountaintop, right? And once you climb there, you get to the top of the peak, and you look down, you're like, oh, okay, now what? So once I got as big as I physically could, I said, okay, I'm done now. And then I realized, looking back at some of those videos, wow, what the you don't have a neck. So I didn't really like the way, I think it was a good couple years. I was like, that was a good version of me for a couple of years. But it wasn't the version I wanted to be anymore. I wanted to be able to turn my head. And plus, I just didn't want to spend 3 hours in the gym every day. It just got exhausting. But I still like going to the gym. I do. That's not my goal anymore. John, what happened to Michael Bay? Well, he's still making movies. He just made Ambulance. Now, are you talking about what happened to him, like as far as like losing his becoming insane and making shit movies? I don't think he cares anymore. There's a saying about directors. They only have so many magic arrows they can shoot before all those magic arrows are gone. So you could say the same thing about Michael Bay and Steven Spielberg. They shot all those magical arrows and now they're gone. John, have you ever seen Dark City? I feel it's underrated. Thoughts? I like Dark City. It's okay. I watched it once. Very Matrix-esque in a way, and sort of the precursor to the Matrix. I liked it. I just never had the urge to rewatch it again. The next one comes from Lunatic Reactions. Trans women in women's sports, is it cheating? I would say yes. Yeah, it's an unfair advantage, isn't it? Is there an unfair advantage? If you can answer yes, then it's not fair. Mike Spoon says, "Hey John, hope all is well. Thank you for streaming. Random thought, but I wish more films like Don John were made. Something about that film was very relatable. Don't ask why. Have a great day." I'm dying. Sorry. Yeah, I like Don John. I also related to it probably more than I should. I like movies that are just very subtle, low key about everyday life and the way people function in reality, right? I just like when movies focus on like one person or one individual and it shows like what they do in their everyday life. That's like, I love movies like that. So Don John, I related to it quite a bit, maybe a little bit too much in some regards, but I did like it. And the great thing about Don John was, I think it was an independent film. It was also directed by, why can I never remember his name? The director of Don John, the star of Don John, Robin from The Dark Knight Rises, Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yes. So yeah, I liked it. I wish more small independent films like that were made. All right, the next one comes from 1901. Now that I think about it, Zack Snyder's Justice League is almost just as bad as Justice League. Unfiltered Zack Snyder is the worst. Also, it's the same plot. It more or less is the same plot with just more stuff in between. But at least they took out the stupid, goofy stuff for the most part. That's what I can say is what made it better. I think Zack Snyder's director's cut is better, but I don't think it's a great movie by any means. Art Vandalay says, 1917 or Dunkirk. Have you Googled Psycho Gorman? No, I have not. I would probably go Dunkirk. I think 1917 was a great one-watch movie, but I just don't ever have the urge to rewatch it. But then again, I could say the same about Dunkirk. I would rather rewatch Dunkirk than 1917. Let's see. The next one. The Eisenator says, do you drink at a party a lot? Best drugs. I drink occasionally. I might take an edible every once in a while, like a gummy edible, because it just tastes like Sour Patch Kids that have more effect. That's about all I would do, man. Claudia Rojon says, I remember when you said your goal was to not be able to turn your head. That was my goal. And once I achieved my goal, then you find a different goal. I do remember saying that. Kyle says, John, why did Tiny Todd have to die? We miss him. Love the content, boss man. Well, thank you for that. I don't know. It just felt like a thing I didn't want to have to like incorporate in my videos every time. I guess I just didn't want to become the guy known with the plastic skeleton. But then again, now I'm the guy known that had a plastic skeleton. I don't know. I just didn't feel like keeping a little plastic skeleton around my entire life. I guess that's why. The next one comes from Your Name Here. Happy Friday, brother. Hope you're doing well. Terminal List is great. Have you seen it or been able to see it? Sorry if you've already covered it. Terminal List? Why do I not Terminal List? Let me look that up. Terminal List. It's on Amazon Prime. Oh, it's got it's got Chris Pratt in it. It looks like just another Chris Pratt movie. Like, this looks like another one of his, like, crapped out movies for Amazon Prime, like the last one, the Tomorrow War or whatever it was. It sort of looks like that. Is it good? Okay, I'll check it out. I haven't really heard anyone say anything good about it, though. So, all right, I'll check it out, man. I'll look into it. The next one comes from Night King 01. I think Better Call Saul had better characters. X, Lalo, Nacho. Better Call Saul definitely had some good characters. I think Better Call Saul had more likable characters that you wanted to watch. Because the majority of the characters in Breaking Bad, even Walter White himself isn't a likable guy, right? His wife's not likable. Jesse Pinkman is not likable. Saul Goodman, though, is likable. Kim Wexler is likable. So, yeah, I do agree with what you're saying. I think it just had likable characters in comparison. Not to say they're bad characters, they're just not as likable. But then again, Saul Goodman's brother was pretty hard to get through. Joe Mama says, do you enjoy foreign subtitle flicks? Yeah, I do. I really do. I'll tell you one film that should have had subtitles that originally was supposed to have subtitles, but Disney interfered and said no. And that was the movie Prey. I think having them speak their native language would have actually enhanced that film and made it way more immersive. The next one comes from Joe Ruiz, Lord of the Rings. Invited to all-night dinner party only to get to choose one, meet American Psycho or Brad Pitt Snatch. American Psycho, man. All American Psycho, for always and ever. Claudia Rogojan says, also, does it annoy you when people accuse you of steroid use in the past, even though that physique took you like 5 years to achieve from what you said? Yeah, when you work out for 7 years, it's not hard to gain that much muscle. It's really, like, it's not. You just do it. The other thing is, you want to know the crazy thing is, when I was jacked and muscular, I literally weighed 10 pounds more than I do now. Just 10 pounds more. That's all I weighed. But it's where you put it. It's all an optical illusion. If you work out your traps, your biceps, and your shoulders, you instantly look that much bigger because that's the outline of your body. So yeah, just work out for 5 years and actually work out every day for 3 hours. You'll get that way. I promise you. It's not hard. Just don't eat like shit and work out. Really just do a lot of trap exercises. It makes you look bigger than you are. But yeah, but I usually weighed 2,000. I usually weighed between 205 and 210 when I was working out. And weighing 210, I couldn't maintain 210 pounds. It was hard for me because I'm naturally skinny. So I would probably weigh like 205 pounds when I was buff on YouTube. Now I weigh like 194. So it really, weight-wise, wasn't that dramatic. I still got the biceps, man. Like, I would say my biceps are probably almost similar in size to what they were. It's just I don't look like this anymore. But I can if you want me to flex for you. Your Name Here says, I literally wrote it off too, but it's based off a great book by the same name. Fuqua was involved in producing and directing it. Which movie are we talking about right now? Antoine Fuqua? Which movie are we talking about that he produced and directed? Are we talking about Beast? Or are we talking about something else? I think he's a great director at times. He's made some movies I enjoy. OE Review says, have you checked out House of the Dragon yet? Solid start so far. Forgot how much I missed Game of Thrones. Oh, dude, I've rewatched Game of Thrones, the series, probably 4 times because it's just like my go-to cinematic series. So the fact that House of Dragon came out and it was pretty good, I'm like, okay, thank you. It gives me something else to look forward to once a week. Night King 01 says, there. By the way, I talked about House of Dragon like 5 times throughout this live show. So if you want to see my thoughts, just skim back. I've talked about it quite a bit. Night King 01 says, there was a dub of Prey in Comanche, John on Hulu. I'm very aware of that. But it should have just been that. You missed the voice, yo? You missed the voice? Hey there, guys. John here at the Flick Pick channel. That voice. I was just kind of doing I wanted to do like a very heightened version of myself for like some of my reviews. So I was kind of playing like a very heightened character version of myself. So I kind of went with that for those couple of years. And I remember people calling me a meathead. He's a stupid meathead. He's not a real nerd. He's faking it. I remember that very vividly. And then I'd be like, oh, did you go back and watch my videos from 2010? And then they'd come back and go, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm like, yeah. Do you still want to clip people with your car? Yeah, certain people. The next one comes from Dustin Rich. How's it going, Dustin? I know Only God Forgives was a disappointment, but give The Neon Demon a chance. It's my favorite NWR film, and the cinematography and soundtrack are euphoric. Or just play more Rocket League. I think I started to watch Neon Demon one night and just didn't finish it. Only God Forgives, man. Going from Drive to that, I was expecting so much more. Nicholas Winding Refn, and I was really disappointed. Like, the music was cool, like it looked okay at times, but what a terrible screenplay. So maybe I'll go back and rewatch Neon Demon at some point. And yeah, Rocket League, best music of any video game ever. That and Zombies Ate My Neighbors. But Rocket League's music, it is euphoric. I love it. Oh, the voice gave you flashbacks? I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. Claudia Rogajon says, I still can't tell if your voice was fake back then. And no, that was my real voice. It was just... The thing is, when I make reviews, if I talk in my normal, super normal, everyday voice, I start to mumble. And if I talk like this, I'm able to really define every sentence that I'm saying. I can verbalize what I'm saying without mumbling. So I think anyone who actually speaks for a living, the way they speak isn't necessarily how they talk all the time. It's just a heightened version of their own voice to present something so it's more clear and defined and precise. So when I used to talk like that, or if I talk like that in my reviews sometimes, that's why. I just want everything I'm saying to be very concise and presented without being mumbly. So I hope that made some sense. Night King 01 says, The Rundown is The Rock's best movie. Agree. It's definitely probably Peter Berg's best fucking movie. I'll say that. I would say The Rundown overall, as far as like an action movie, yeah. Oddly enough, 2003, the last good Rock movie ever made 20 years ago. Isn't that crazy? Like, think of all the shit that guy has crapped out over the years. Like, they made a Hercules movie starring The Rock. Like, who thought that was a good idea? They've made a lot of bad movies. I sort of like The Scorpion King. I still think that's a guilty pleasure movie. What happened to the Tire Nazi? Yeah, that's still a place. It's actually like a tire shop 20 minutes away. Type in Leo Discount Tire. That's a real place in Leo, Indiana. I don't know if he's still alive. I don't know. Rock is a billionaire, I bet. Oh, yeah, The Rock is easily a billionaire. No doubt, man. Joseph Noel says, Hey, John, how's it going? I just wanted to let you I got into medical school for next year. Is that real, Joseph Knowles? Well, congratulations to you, man. Good luck with your journey. What kind of medical doctor do you want to be? If it's psychological, I could use your help. We've already talked about House of Dragon quite a bit, so I've already covered it. Claudia Rogajon says, what's your take on Hollywood actor claims of natty? You gotta specify someone. Specify someone, man. If someone went from normal physique to super buff in the course of 3 months to shoot a movie, genetically speaking, depending on their physique, there's things you can do. You can definitely get bigger and more toned in 3 months, especially if you have unlimited money, resources, and time, and you can hire a personal trainer and work out 8 hours a day. A lot of things are obtainable and doable. But sometimes in Hollywood, you look at people and you go, they're having a little extra help. So I'll leave it there. Connor X says, I got into film school 3 weeks from now. Well, congrats, man. Have a good time there. Hope it works out for you. 2001 or Clockwork Orange. I think Clockwork Orange is probably the overall better film. 2001 is a spectacle. It looks great. I could only imagine watching that for the first time in the 1960s. But as far as a movie goes, there's like a 15-minute scene where like a spaceship is docking. So probably not the most rewatchable, but you got to respect it for what it is, and the visual effects and it's alone, practically speaking, like still hold up to today. Logan Eckstein says, do you think film school is worth it? I was thinking about it. Film school might help you get your foot in the door and might help look better on a piece of paper. But the thing is, if you have natural talent and you can pick up a camera and have some editing software and go make a short film and you can present that to someone, or networking, when it comes to filmmaking or working in that industry, networking is the key. It's not what you know, it's kind of who you know. But if you know what the hell you're doing and you do have talent, it only helps that much. So I would say networking is what you really need to get. If you have the talent, you need to focus on networking. You need to reach out to as many people as you possibly can and just get your foot into as many doors as you can. That's the best way to go. But actually making something to show someone, that also really helps. And keep in mind, when it comes to filmmaking, you don't need to get jobs making $500 million blockbuster movies. There's plenty of commercial work out there that you can do, you know? So take what you can get. The next one comes from, I'm going to answer just a few more questions, guys. I'm going to wrap this up because I am sort of losing my voice right now. Claudia Rogajon says, I'll just say most of them like Hugh Jackman, Logan. Well, let's keep in mind, Hugh Jackman is a 50-something-year-old guy. He was shredded as shit, and immediately after his role is over, well, you notice that muscle definition sort of fades off. So 1 + 1 = 2. A guy in his 50s, probably on TRT, which is testosterone replacement therapy, which is okay, but they just can't say that. But here, if I was an actor and my job was to be ripped and buffed and I only had 3 months to do it, and I knew by doing this is what my character needed, and I was going to get paid millions of dollars, and I could do it under the care of a physician, what does common sense tell you? MKF30 says, Simpsons versus South Park versus Beavis and Butthead versus Family Guy. I like Family Guy. I think that's the most watchable of the series. Simpsons was great from 1992 to 1997. And speaking of The Simpsons, I have a brand new flick trip coming. I shot it. I just have to edit it. That relates to The Simpsons. I think you guys will enjoy the new flick trip video. South Park was good, but I don't really go back and revisit it that much. Beavis and Butthead was really cool, but not really something that aged very well for me. So I'd go with Family Guy. Night King 01 says, Ben Affleck was definitely on something for the Batman. Yeah, probably. He was probably on a little testosterone, I would say. But then again, any guy over the age of 40, it's been medically proven that it only benefits your health to be on testosterone replacement therapy, because any dude over the age of 40, your testosterone starts to dwindle. And when your testosterone starts to dwindle in your old age, guess what happens? Your muscle withers away. Your energy withers away. So it's not good. That's why men age. Boost up that testosterone, man. You're good to go. So next one comes from Joe Ruiz, Lord of the Rings, who says, why didn't you review everything everywhere all at once, everywhere around you, every time, everything, every day, everywhere? I didn't see it when it was topical, I guess. And if you don't do a review when it's topical, no one watches the video. I saw it way after the fact. I watched on streaming, and I did enjoy it. I just didn't see it when it hit theaters, so it sort of just passed me by. I really did like it, though. I thought it was unique and new and fresh, and I did like it. I don't know if I'd go back and revisit it all that often, but I did enjoy the experience of watching it. Joe Mama says, get to feeling better, sir. Longtime fan. Well, thank you. I'll feel better in a couple of days. I had a cold for a couple of days, and I'm already feeling better than I did yesterday. So, but thank you for that. Joseph Knowles says, all I need from you, John, when I'm in medical school is more videos from you. Thank you for what you do. Well, thank you, Joseph. All I need you to do is complete that medical degree and become a doctor and help people, damn it. Most importantly, me when I come to you with my black lung. But yeah, good luck, Joseph. And I'll keep making videos as long as you keep watching, man. I might not always be the most consistent, but I'll always be here. Claudia Rogajan says, Ben Affleck had padding in his bat suit as well. Well, fuck yeah, he had padding in his bat suit. Do you really think he gained 180 pounds of muscle mass? Yes, he had tons of padding. No, it wasn't padding. It was armor plating, okay? It was there to protect him. It wasn't for aesthetics. But yes, he had tons of padding. I'm talking about the scenes where he's shirtless working out. That's what I'm specifying when I talk about Ben Affleck getting bigger. Night King 01, you said I missed a question. Now I'm going back to look at all your questions. Can you type it again right now in the chat, the normal chat, and I'll see if I did miss it. I see the last 5 questions you typed. I think I answered them all, but if you can right now, type it in the normal chat, man. Allows says, hey, John, what DC movie are you looking forward to the most? Black Adam, Shazam 2, The Flash, Aquaman 2, Joker 2. Well, how do I answer this? Okay. I'm not really looking forward to Black Adam. I'll keep it real with you. Shazam 2, I think will be a fun movie with some levity. The Flash, I think, will either be a catastrophic failure of epic proportions, or it will be mildly entertaining, and I think everyone will enjoy the Michael Keaton Batman scenes. I was looking forward to Aquaman 2. I kind of was. Joker 2, based on the first one, I'm really looking forward to it because that's more the tone of what I want to see in a movie. But the fact that Lady Gaga is going to be in there and they're talking about like musical-esque tones, I'm like, I don't know about that shit. So I'm hoping they were sort of joking around with it being a musical. But Joker 2 could be cool. But the fact that Lady Gaga's going to be in it, I don't know. That doesn't make me more excited to see it. Night King 01 says, John, do you still watch Three Musketeers on a rainy day? Doctor Strange, I watch that and Casino Royale on cold, rainy days. It takes me to my happy place. Yeah, you know what it is? There's a lot of movies I do watch on rainy days. I'll give you a few of them. Do I occasionally watch The Three Musketeers starring Chris O'Donnell and Oliver Platt? Yes, occasionally I do. Also, there's something about a good time period adventure movie I enjoy, like Three Musketeers, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Gladiator. I enjoy time period movies where there's a journey and a great story to be told. It just takes me out of all reality and makes me happy. So yes, I do. Thank you for the question. Itchy Elbows says nothing but thanks. Was I itching my elbows? Was I doing that? Or is that just your name? I don't know. I feel like I itch my nose a lot, but You know what no one ever told you about getting old is nose hair. It just comes out of random places. It always itches. Dustin Rich says, I once had a dream about Kevin Bacon riding a bicycle shirtless and his abs glistening in the sun. What's your favorite Kevin Bacon movie? Well, I'm going to go with another movie where he does glisten in the shade of a warehouse as he smokes a cigarette, drinks a beer, and does fantastical backflips and dancing moves in an abandoned warehouse. A little movie called Footloose, which everyone should watch, or at least the sequence I'm talking about, because it will forever change your life. So I'm going to go with Footloose. The one role, I will tell you this, as a kid, watching Kevin Bacon in a movie called Sleepers made me hate Kevin Bacon for a very long time. If you've not seen Sleepers, go watch it one day, but it makes you feel icky. It's not one of those movies you just want to pop in. You got to be in the right mood. The next one comes from Itchy Elbows. Thoughts on Batgirl getting canned? I guess they just looked at it and said, that's a piece of shit. Let's not waste our time or money marketing it or putting it out. But then again, if it's already done or 90% done, I don't know why you wouldn't just put it on the streaming service, like a made for HBO movie. But my only other speculation would be maybe they were trying to open up the universe with Batgirl and mentioning other characters where they didn't want to taint the DCEU with Batgirl being part of it, because they know they actually don't want to go forward with her in that universe. They're like, okay, if it was a one-off solo movie, fine, but the fact maybe they tried to like be in other franchises and make her an established character that would show up again, maybe that's where they're like, okay, we actually don't want that character to show up again, but one time is okay. That's why I think maybe they canned it, but who knows? Joseph Knowles says, was the last good Tim Burton movie Sweeney Todd, and which was years ago. I didn't even like Sweeney Todd that much. I'm trying to think of the last good Tim Burton movie. I mean, maybe that or Big Fish. I'm trying to think of another recent. All his movies look like green screen, gloomy movies. They all just look like the same movie, copy and pasted. It might have been that or Big Fish from the early. Well, Big Fish was what, 99, early 2000s? I don't remember. Yeah, it's been a while since a good Tim Burton movie was made, wasn't it? Itchy Elbow says, at a crossroads in life right now, moving on from friends and relationships, have you ever started over again? Any advice on how you did it? I've done it many times. You might be asking the best person on the planet Earth for said advice. I've moved on from life in friends and relationships probably a solid 6 times. So in a way, I've sort of lived 6 different lives. What I would say is move on, make the best of it, because anyone who really wants to be in your life will be in your life, right? If you have to force someone into your life, then they shouldn't be there in the first place, and it's not going to be good in the long run. So what I would say is move on. Make yourself a better version of who you are. Find some hobbies and keep going, man. Life is linear, you know. Don't keep looking at the flashbacks. Keep going. So yeah, just do it. Just do it. You'll be okay. In a year or two, you'll look back and say, "Oh, yeah, that wasn't as bad. It's better now." Or at least that's what I always do. Claudia Rojan says, "Why did you watch Sleepers as a kid?" I was a fucked up kid. I'm telling you guys. When I nitpick movies, and I talk shit about shows like She-Hulk, saying it's a cash grab of nothingness that no one's going to actually talk about and it's not going to resonate with anyone unless you're an 8-year-old boy. The reason I say these things is I watched deep-rooted, dramatic, weird movies growing up where it planted these seeds in me of like what real movies are, what real emotions a movie should evoke from you. So why did I watch Sleepers as a kid? I think we rented it from Blockbuster when it was brand new. My mom said, "Oh, this has a great cast. Brad Pitt's in this. It's a drama movie." So those are the types of movies I would watch as a kid. Like I watched all the crazy over the top movies like Ninja Turtles and Terminator and RoboCop and all the other bullshit like Mortal Kombat. But along the way, I would also watch movies like Pulp Fiction, Shawshank Redemption, movies like Sleepers. So I feel like in a way I had the perfect well-rounded upbringing of cinema. So I feel like that's what everyone needs in life. You know, I feel like some people have only been exposed to one type of movie, and that's all they like. So I don't know. That's why I watch Sleepers. I hope I answered the question some way. Jake 8 says, why is it so hard to make a good Saul sequel? It's bizarre because they focus too much on the torture porn aspect and not like making you care about the characters in the situation. The great thing about the first movie was it wasn't just, hey, we need to put 800 traps in this movie and make it the most convoluted thing ever. It was simplicity that made that movie work. And that's what they should do with a new Saul movie. I don't want to see this jigsaw trap with 8,000 different things that come together to kill somebody. It's like, okay, it makes your brain hurt after 5 minutes. And most importantly, if you don't care about the guy or the person or whoever's trapped in that dangerous situation, then you don't really care about the movie. So I think that's what happened. They started just catering to the lowest common denominator in those movies, people who just wanted to see torture porn. And I think the story got lost. Nike01 says, John, I said Strange, not Doctor Strange. You can't read. Who gives a fuck? Yes, you said Strange. Sorry. What'd you say? I said you watched Strange? Yeah, sorry, man. If only you could see what I'm looking at right now. The text on the screen is 5-point font. So sometimes I can't actually see what it's saying. I just have to fill in the gaps. And sometimes questions are way too long, so I try to abbreviate them to shorten them down just to make it roll off the tongue a little bit quicker. So I can read. I just simply couldn't see your message, man. So please forgive my sins against humanity. But in the grand scheme of it, what's the big difference? The next one comes from Claudia Rojan. Narc is pretty underrated Narc is pretty underrated film from 2002 that's gritty and realistic, good rainy day movie to watch. No one talks about. Busta Rhymes is in it. Well, you didn't help sell me on the fact that Busta Rhymes is in the movie, but also there's a director's cut of Daredevil starring Ben Affleck where Busta Rhymes is in that movie as well. I've never seen Narc. I'm pretty sure you've told me to watch it 14 times. I still haven't yet. I know it's good. It probably is entertaining. Isn't it one of those movies in South America where they change the color grading to where everything's yellow? You know what I'm talking about. Every movie that takes place in Mexico or South America, they make the color timing of the movie yellow. Like, this is what it looks like in Mexico. Didn't Narc do that? Night King 01 says, I remember watching Scarface at 12, good times. I remember watching it at 12 as well and thinking I just watched Scarface again. I've seen it like 20 times, but I watched it again maybe a week ago, and I love that movie's such a product of its time. Like the shit they're wearing, the cars they're driving, it looks so early 80s, and I like things like that. It's like a time machine movie. Oh, Coolio, sorry, yeah, Coolio. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got confused. Coolio, how dare I? Both phenomenal actors, nevertheless, right? MKF30 says, top 3 favorite video game movies and 3 worst to you. I don't think I can do a top 3 favorite video game movies because there hasn't been 3 good video game movies. But if you really want my answer, you can go watch my top 5 video game movies video I made 5 years ago. I think I picked Mortal Kombat. What's another video game movie I picked? I don't even remember what my number 2 was. Mortal Kombat is still my favorite video game movie ever made. I would say if you want to technically talk about video game movies, not a very good movie, but based on video games and a guilty pleasure, there's a movie called The Wizard, starring Fred Savage, where he takes his young autistic brother across the country to a Mario Brothers 3 tournament at Universal Studios. Always a guilty pleasure movie, but I rather enjoy it. I'm trying to think what else I put on that list. I think I put the first Tomb Raider on there. I don't remember what is in my top 5 video game movies. Oh, I don't remember. Gosh, now I need to go back and rewatch that video. But if you want my answer, it's in that video. No, I have not seen Vanilla Sky. Silent Hill is underrated. I think the tone and atmosphere of the first Silent Hill movie, I think they got the tone right. I really do. It's not a perfect movie, but at least the atmospheric tone of it's pretty decent. All right, guys, I'm going to answer just a few more questions. I know I said that 20 minutes ago, but just like 2 more questions because I feel like I need to go blow my nose. All right. Itchy Elbow says, thoughts on these overreacting YouTuber / Twitter people that overhype every Marvel and Star Wars mediocre product? It's so obvious they shill. No, they're not. Well, yeah. The thing is, when you overreact or do a reaction video, unless you scream and watch it like this, because this is how I watch trailers. I do this when I watch it. Unless you do that, you're not appeasing the people who actually search reaction video. So you have to appease a certain demographic of people. And I've made reaction videos to things, but I try to give my real reaction. Like, I'll sit there and watch it and stop along the way. And then sometimes people go, that's a shitty reaction. I don't know what it... People want disingenuous shit nowadays. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, it's... I don't know. There's nothing wrong with a reaction video if it's a genuine reaction. Nothing wrong with it. But people are screaming like someone just handed them $1 million. I'm just like, what are you doing, man? Like, come on, the She-Hulk trailer was not that good. The fact that you're screaming at that makes me wonder what would happen if you actually watch something of quality standards. Would your head literally just pop, or are you just too dumb to know what quality is? I don't know. But yeah, I don't watch reaction videos. And if I do put reaction in a title of a video, it's usually me coming out of a movie theater talking about it, not just a blank stare on my face as I look at something that was made. I like to do like a review in reaction videos. So if a reaction video has a review attached to it or actually some thoughts, I think that's quality content. But yeah, people just making stupid faces for 5 minutes, I don't know. If that's what you want to watch, go for it. I've never been able to do it. But I have been jealous of the people who can cry in reaction videos. I'm like, you're crying right now. I wish I had that much humanity inside of me right now to do that. John, talk about the car wash. Well, I did go to the car wash yesterday, and I did have a monthly subscription fee to the car wash where I could go through the car wash every day as many times as I wanted. And it was beautiful. But it was way too expensive, so I recently canceled it. Claudia Rojon says, Narc is in Detroit and everything is gray and blue. What am I thinking about Narcos? I think I'm thinking about Narcos, man. I'm sorry. But yes, every movie that takes place in Detroit, that's the color grading, gray and blue. Oh, are you talking about the Jamie Foxx movie? What am I thinking of? What am I thinking of right now when you said Narc? Okay, yes. Okay, you want to know why when you mentioned Narc earlier, I was thinking about yellow? It's because the poster and the cover of the movie is in yellow. That's why. Okay. My sincerest apologies. Mason Arnold says, me and my buddy watched Steel the other day. What the F? Yeah, Steel's a pretty bad movie. It's something about those 90s comic book movies were just pure ass juice, weren't they? Just really bad. But in the newest Sylvester Stallone movie on Amazon Prime called, whatever the fuck it's, what is it called? Samaritan? He literally is dressed like Steel. Literally dressed in the same outfit that Steel wore. And he even has a hammer. And there's even a rip-off speech from the villain in Samaritan. It's like a Bane wannabe speech. It's literally the speech Bane gave to Gotham people about Blackgate Prison. All right, guys. I think I'm going to wrap up the live show right there, but I do want to say thank you guys for all the questions, hanging out with me. How long were we talking here? Was it like an hour and a half? 10:30? We did this. Okay, it was almost 2 hours. So it wasn't really that short of a live show, was it? But I do want to just say thank you guys for the questions. It does mean a lot. Thanks for watching. Big thanks to everyone who gave a super chat. Way too generous. Does help out quite a bit. Does help pay the internet bill every month. So I do appreciate you guys. Look out for a new Flick Trip video, possibly this week or early next week. And probably a review coming very soon. I might review The Samaritan or maybe House of the Dragon. I don't know. Which one would you guys care about more? Let me know down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for looking at my stupid face. Much appreciated. And I'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye-bye.